Obviously, in Nebraska, there are two very different economies. You have a rural and urban areas. What's your best approach to economic development to address the needs of both?
Folks, the reality is that having been in the legislature for 10 years, I can tell you that term limits did not do us any favors when it comes to building coalition and consensus. Many times senators are either thrown out or they're voted out or they don't spend the full 8 years there. I was lucky enough to have 10, 2 appointed and 2 of my own. Those senators who have been there for a long period of time understand how to get things done, and further built consensus where the urban-rural divide was less impactful than it is today. I would bring in urban-rural, and we would start with things that we all need. Property tax relief. That's what this election is about, property tax relief. And we can't do that without talking about education, and we can't talk about education without trusting that our institutions are doing what they need to do to educate our children, both in K through 12 and higher education. Those are the common base things that we need to build consensus on and move forward. This is about property tax relief, tax restructuring across the board.
Governor, same question to you. Urban, rural, obviously, how do you work to make sure both of them are taken care of?
So one of the things we've done in my administration is focus on a strategy that grows Nebraska, the entire state. And you can see this reflected in things such as our transportation priorities, where we focused on not only Omaha with repaving Maple Street or the Lincoln South Beltway, but also doing things such as making the Highway 83 from McCook to North Platte a Super 2 highway, or making 275 between Scribner and West Point a 4-lane highway. And we're being rewarded. We actually have won the Governor's Cup here in Nebraska 2 years in a row for the most economic development projects per capita of any state in the nation. In fact, for the last 2 years, we've had more projects than North Dakota, South Dakota, and Kansas combined. And if you look at that list of those projects, they are in areas in Omaha and Lincoln, but also in other parts of the state as well. Another thing we can do to be able to help do that is make sure that we've got strong RFS, ethanol. Those creates jobs in our small towns and rural communities. It's responsible for about 1,300 direct jobs and all sorts of spin-off jobs from that. So that's another great way that we can make sure we're doing this all across our great state.
All right, Governor Ricketts, moving on to the next topic.
Can the senator respond to that? Or you
Can I respond?
Did you want to respond?
Yes, please. We had a 4-lane project that was designed in the mid-90s, and it was supposed to be completed in 2003 at a cost of $500 million. That project has now been extended to 2033, and that is just stage 1. That's going to cost us $2.5 billion to get there. The reason is that we build when we're good and we don't build when we're not. I would advocate a judicious use of bonding, which will keep our folks working and keep this project on place. That 4-lane project will do more for safety and for connecting our small towns around this state than any other economic development we have.